Assortment of tools and a blank clipboard. See, the thing about it is when you consider the aspects, like I feel and I feel like I was wronged in that situation. I have proof that somebody created lies about me. Okay, and here's what it entails now. Okay, there's people that feel justified to bring forces against me like that with the threat of law enforcement, jail, taking a beating by cops, because we know they do beat people if they choose to accept a bias and act on it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It's a threat to my life. I could die. I can get my whole life fucked up and end up crippled just because of some cop and some lady calling the cops. Or if a cop decides to look at that piece of paper that's recorded in record, and then there's a number for a case for it, and it says Daniel was walking around yelling at bystanders about swastikas. What if there's a Jewish cop that had a family that's, maybe, killed by the Holocaust, and they still have animosity, okay, and they decide that, okay, they look at this record because for some other reason somebody else calls, or if there's a legitimate reason, that, okay, they had the right to stop me, which they better be a victim, and they see that there's a swastika thing on there, I could get killed. So, no. That's where I have a right as an American to address this. And here's what happens, okay? It does involve the DMV, because that's the lady that started the shit with me, okay? It does involve the shopping center, because the lady that started the shit and called the cops on me was working for the company that's renting or in there, plus the owner of the center, which I believe are the same person, okay? And they have contracts together, okay, which involves insurance and liability. Okay, and then take into consideration on top of that, there's the policeman. So that's three entities coming against me, okay? And figure this, there are bus stops in that parking lot, okay? And there are no medians, and there's no designated sidewalk or signs for the bus stop. I think there's 2 bus stops, and they're public city buses. So if you have driver's tests going on right on the side of US 1, with inexperienced drivers, and it's in a parking lot where old people in all walks of life come in for many reasons, okay, and there's no sidewalks, okay, there's no signs, okay, and there's a liquor store in there, which people partying could be going buying extra more liquor to get more buzzed, okay, what kind of liability is involved? So now, either way, if they want to make me to be the bad guy, you have to put parking lots you have to put medians and sidewalks in that thing. So because if some lady had a problem with me and a cop had a problem with me, okay, and the cops within the 911 call, okay, it says at 9:45 that the cop was looking. I was standing in front of him singing with a guitar, okay, and he's the backup cop. So then by the time the call comes in, I believe it's 9:49 that the whole thing is solidified. Okay, the cop already had seen me. Maybe he judged me. Then maybe he was just waiting for a reason to say, I don't like this guy. And then when Robin comes in there and he sees the other interactions, he decides to say, okay, old lady and this dude with the guitar, it's obviously his fault. Okay, and then they're all thinking that. So the cop maybe wanted to fuck me to begin with. So he uses Robin as an excuse to do that, right? So then he writes that paper without even hearing the whole story, which I started over, justifiably, okay, when Martin got there, okay, and to look on the thing, I believe Martin was the first responder that was supposed to show up, and Romero, I almost said Benitez, they almost look alike, showed up too, okay, so first, so you see the whole thing, and okay, so the breach of the contract with the insurance is fraud if the shopping center is not okay with driver tests being right there. The city bus there creates a liability where somebody else that's hit by a testing or drunk driver could sue all these people, and it could take a life, or a family could get killed, okay? It's a shopping center where there's a public an ice arena, Publix. So there's a grocery store with kids and families, and an ice arena where kids and families are going, plus a Department of Motor Vehicle in the same shopping center. And guess what? The marquee sign has like scintillating lights that other people aren't allowed to have on their business, but in certain code aspects, which are all unlawful anyway and illegal to have code to that degree. So the signage for the DMV isn't even that good. It almost looks temporary as the 15 stinking cones that were put out there. So the whole thing could involve the liquor store, because if the lady from the liquor store called, or Robin called and the cops saw me, and then solidified by, because I was walking away, you could see I was walking away, solidified by the DMV lady, it looks like they all just like put me in a box and backed me in a corner and made me respond, and then they only look at the responses. So there could be 10 people coming at me, okay, with a guilty perception that I'm guilty, based on their own feelings, and this involves 3, 4, 5, 6 entities plus public buses. So, you think I'm a bad guy, but guess what? I've seen a speedometer store, okay, where the guy was fined $30,000 because he didn't have a wheelchair access thing, and then he was forced to spend another like $50,000 to put a wheelchair ramp. Well, guess what? Okay, you don't want to deal with me? Well, guess what? You better make a connection, because that means you're going to have to put sidewalks. You're going to have to put signs. The contract of your rental agreement and lease agreement with your insurance policies and liability is going to have to be looked at. The cop's career is going to have to be looked at. His past record, how many other times did he lie? Because if he lied on reports before and other people felt like me and they were scared, guess what? Maybe we can go back and say, you know what, let's pull these people out, and we find out the cop did this to 20 people. Dude, that could be somebody with no less important, no more important than me, but somebody with a wife and kids and ailing parents who are veterans they're taken care of. And if this guy lies on paperwork to say I was screaming at people about swastikas, whatever, dude, if you come to me to comment, I'll stick up for myself and I'm accountable for it, but let's bring it. Let's make it happen. Let's do it, okay? Because I'm going to file, dude. I don't freaking care. It's my responsibility as an American. And you know what? It's tax dollars that were wasted on me in the beginning, and the charges were due out for something else. Okay, and here it keeps happening, and it's the same state of Florida, and it's the same process, and it's the same type of people. So no, I have a responsibility to do this. I have a right to do this, and I have a right to get closure. I have a right to perform acts of administrative prowess with my American privilege, okay, and worldly universal privilege to make you accountable and bring consequences onto you, because guess what the consequence is right now for me? This is my life right now that I'm spending time. It really bothers me, okay? And the captain was there and asked what we want to do about it, and, I think that Melody's a great guy, and so is James in the office, but guess what? If there's something on paper that says we have a right to get Daniel because of this, and they all feel the same in violation of Title 18, Section 241, 242 of the USC, okay, then they're all going to take me away without no problem and say that's the way it is, and leave me sit in jail and tell my parents and my family and anybody that cares about me I'm connected to that, okay, you know what, Daniel's just a bad dude. Okay, but what happens in this situation? Okay, I didn't do anything to deserve this, and now this is happening, so let's do the same with them. Okay, constitutionally, and I could show you documents that say USC on them that they use to tell us, okay, by the USC code you violated and we're going to get you. Well, guess what? I see a USC code too, and it's violated and we're going to get you. Okay, and we are the people of America. Okay? Hey, got something good out of Amazon again. Back to school, because you're going to learn something. I'm sorry, but all rights reserved, dudes. Reach out, because in the end, you know what it's going to cost me? It costs me so much already, and it's costing me for the rest of my life to feel like this could happen. It's insecurity. People commit suicide over this crap. People drink to death over and OD over this crap. They go nuts, and and I'm nonviolent. I just keep creating. And what's going to happen is, what's going to cost you? About 5 or 6 entities. It could cost you a lot of inconvenience. It could cost people their jobs. It could cost people to have their jobs, altered, so they have to think about other things instead of letting just, what's right be smooth. And it could cost you millions of dollars worth of parking lot renovations. It could cost you rents. Okay, and I'm sorry, but, the owners of these companies, you got to do a better job hiring people. So it does come down to you. Okay, I don't like to have friends in my corner that do illicit things or have something where if I'm around them and something happens, like what if I'm around a bunch of people and I don't know, right? And somebody, I don't know anything about their life, and there's an incident and I get involved in it or implicated in it because of circumstance of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? They're going to say, oh, Daniel has some Nazi on his record. It said something about swastika. And what if there's a bunch of people that are into neo-Nazism standing next to me are actually haters and racists and like to kill people and be discriminatory? And then all of a sudden, because I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, they look at my record, and then it says Daniel is screaming swastikas? Oh, fuck me, right? No way, dude. Guess what? Actually, the ball's been in your court for a while, and you just don't do nothing. So guess what? I know how to use these, but guess what? I've learned from you. So you have to go back to school, because I'm just doing what is necessary as an American. And right now I'm working. I didn't want to get my American flag dirty right this second. But at any given time, you people feel like you have the right to come in our lives and do things. So, that American flag is here. Trust me, it's here. And it's here too. It's in peace. But it's right here. That American flag is right here. And it's time for you to make a decision. It's time for you to act in a way that's going to benefit all of us. And think about, okay, how can we make this go away? How can we get out of this? And you know what? You just got to own up to it, because I have every single day of my life that I have to feel like this. And the fact is, there's millions of people around me, okay, and I've met hundreds, if not thousands of them that have had stuff like this, and it bothers them for the rest of their life, and some of them fail because of it. And some of them are scared to do anything or even admit it and talk about it, okay? And they feel like it's wrong too. So I'm not alone. And if everybody wasn't scared of your badge and of your gun and your phone calls and your lawyers, you'd be nothing. You'd have to own up, and you'd have to fall into place and realize that you're just like the rest of us. And it is an eye for an eye. But you know what? I'm only telling the truth. So, you decided to cast the first stones at me and yell at me, try to put me in my place, and say things about me, and tell the whole world in public forums about me that if anybody looks up on my record, they're going to see what you have to say about me. Well, guess what? Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, email, and all these things. Thank you for the United States Postal Service for allowing me to send these letters of notification around to people that are unaware of what's going on with their co-workers and family and everything right beside them, and they're at the table enjoying stuff. Maybe they wouldn't agree with that. Okay, so it's all encompassing, because I know it affects my life in every aspect. So, don't be mad at me. I would feel sorry for yourself and think about a time in your life that you could have remorse or whatever, and just breathe. If you decide to look at everything and write down things on paper and look at the papers that I'm sending you, then you're going to know that, okay, well, you fall into these categories, and you may not have known it, and it was definitely a mistake. I can say that from the get-go. It was definitely a mistake. And for me to feel like I should be afraid of you because if you have a badge and a gun or a suit and a tie and an account with a sign, and a piece of dirt, that I should be scared of you, I'm sorry, I'm not. And that's not the point. It's not about being scared. It's doing what's right and what's wrong. And you did me wrong, and you didn't know. Okay, I saw all those things about you, and I didn't draw a conclusion. I just wanted to go through it in my life. But guess what? Romero, you saw something. Robin, you saw something. Many of these other people saw something. And they decided that because for some reason they didn't like that or want to agree with that I was a bad dude. And you came down on me. You yelled at me, you ignored me, you disacknowledged me, and it all started with the guy in the liquor store. Totally. And it's really messed up because, Robin, I saw you go into that store, and I was sitting in the van, I was waiting for you to open. I'm like, you know what? She looks really busy, and at that point, if she looks really busy, and I don't want to, she's just starting her day. And I was like, oh, I'll just hang out here. And when she, she was like 9 or whatever, whenever you opened up, I was there for a while. I was just like, okay, I could have ran up and got you as soon as you went inside and says, okay, let me be selfish about my day here. And says, I want you to, as soon as, your first thing open, I'm going to, berate you with my needs, make you check, tell you when I'm coming back, make sure all this and that. No, I let you. I says, I'm going to let this go through and have their morning. It's a chance for me to wake up and feel good too, because I was on a long trip. I'll even go to the Publix there. And that's the way it was for me, and I'm still in that day. And I'll always be in that day to a degree. There'll always be a reminder. And I moved from Florida because of it. And, I have people here, and I have loved and family, and there's things I love here. So I'm going to be coming back. But you need to solve this problem, because I may be coming back, but I'm not going away. And you made a mistake. You judged me. You profiled me. You discriminated against me. You treated me with bias. You defamated my character. You ordered me around. You threatened me. Okay? And you treated me with belligerence and inconsiderate, unprofessional demeanors, which would ultimately pose as intended to rob me of my dignity and integrity and self-worth. And for that, for your dominating the situation and having to show and prove to me that you guys are all boss hogs, you will pay a price, because this is my world too. And unfortunately for Mr. Clark, I think, if it is true that you own all the property, if you own the property that the shopping center is, if you own all the board storage, like your commercial says, if you own the bank property, then technically you're the shot caller, because you could say to the DMV, get out, what the heck's going on here? You could say, Robin, why is there a test going on there with no signs? There's other places in the parking spot right next to US 1 in the liquor store. In the liquor store, why are drunk drivers coming and almost hitting people? I'm going to say he was drunk. Probability, dude. He had a bottle in his hand. He went to the liquor store first thing in the morning, and he cut across parking. So, yes, I profiled him. But I profiled him a couple times because he gave me information, And so technically, so Mr. Clark, if that's true, if you own all this and you're the executor, proprietor, like it says in your commercial, you already expose yourself as the person that's the executor of these kind of things, and I respect that. You look like a self-made man from a self-made family, and that's how I am. And he would respect me, I think, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get by, and I want to be transparent. I'm not going to look at him or as fault, but I will look at the DMV, because the DMV has a history with me of doing wrong, and that's terrible, man. And the clerks and people working for the DMV are terrible, and security guards and cops, a lot of times have a problem with me because of my long hair and my tattoos. And I'll look them in the eye and stuff. I don't fucking care. I'm not a very big man. I don't pose a threat as far as being tough other than having an opinion. That's your problem, dude. You just maybe see the Catskill Woods in me. That's okay. That's okay. I trust instinct. And this is going on instinct. And if your instinct was going against me for that, like that, you were wrong. For those people. But I'm not a mean man, I'm not a bad man, but I do have a negative perspective, and it's not an anger, it's not a hate, it's a disgust feeling for Romero and Robin. I mean, look at it. Look what they did to me. They don't have to tell me how they feel. Okay? They called the cops on me and wrote a paper with lies just to make sure that I couldn't be coming back. He felt so secure that I was so bad that he thought it was necessary to take an extra measure and risk his own self to go on his own opinion and the fear of Robin to make me look like a bad guy. So this way, definitely put me in my place. You already told me what you think about me, and you don't even know me. And yet I feel like a really upstanding American. All rights reserved, without prejudice, with liberty, freedom, and justice to and for all. One nation, under God, indivisible, with a bright, positive future, no matter who sits in what office, because when it comes to our civil and constitutional rights, it's up to us in the end. And that's why the amendments are there. And my apologies for having to ruin everybody's day of ignorance and blindness to bring out the truth that could be sitting in their plate if they don't think about it, whether it's them or their kids or family or not, but have fun.